my name is Ainsley Marie and welcome to my library. For today's video, we are going to be rereading some of my favorite summer books. I recently reread Heartbones in April by Colleen Hoover, and that is one of my favorite summer books ever. But so I was going on a trip, I needed an audiobook, and I kind of fell in love with this wanting to reread books that I've already read because I'm not a big rereader. So for the next week, I'm going to dedicate this week and I'm going to be calling it Rereading Week. That's kind of lame. To start, we are taking a trip back to whenever I was 16. I have reread this book. I think this is going to be my third or fourth reread. I forget. I'll double check my Goodreads for that. But that is going to be The Unexpected Everything by Morgan Matson. Read this book whenever I was 17, 5 stars. I read it again at 20, 5 stars. So I do want to say I read it again, but maybe I haven't. Maybe I haven't. That's okay. This book, we are following Andy, who has her entire summer planned out. However, her father goes through a political scandal and that leaves her kind of in a desperate search for a summer job. Because of her dad's political scandal, this really good medical internship pulled it. So she had nowhere to go this summer, so she ends up becoming a dog walker, and we just follow her, have a really, really good summer, trying new things, being with her best friends, and meeting a guy. But so the whole point of this book is that if you have everything planned out, nothing is unexpected, and some of the best things from life are those that are unexpected. One of the best summer rereads that I have ever read, genuinely. It is so good. I have to go to work, but I can't wait to read this whenever I come home. Hi guys! We're in my library that y'all have literally never seen. Y'all are on one of my mini bookshelves right now. So all you guys can see is this and my mirror. My reading chair. I am literally 50% of the way through with The Unexpected Everything. I was not expecting to get this far in the book today. I literally, when I started it this morning, like whenever I picked it up and I was talking to you guys and I was starting the video, I was like, oh my gosh. Reading this book is going to take like 5 days, and then I'm going to have to quickly read the other 2 that I want to put in the video. And I was like really stressed. And then I had to go to the auto shop this morning, so I was like, might as well bring the book and start reading it. I forgot how easy it is to reread a book. I don't really have to be paying that much attention to all the details because I've already consumed this novel. Like, I already know what's going to happen, and I feel like there's like several scenes from this book specifically that I remember in my brain. I'm not sure about the others because, again, this is like my 4th time reading this book. The other 2 books in this video, I've never done a reread before, so that's probably going to be a completely different experience. But with this book, there's several scenes that I actively remember. So whenever we get to those scenes, I'm like flying through them. I am falling even more in love with this book. I'm going to get a little vulnerable here, but whenever I started this video and I was talking about this book, I was like, why is this a book that I fell so in love with? Like, to anybody else, this is just like a generic, like, summer teen, young adult, like, romance novel. And I was like, why does this one genuinely mean so much to me? And then as I started reading it, I read where it says her mom died of ovarian cancer. And I was thinking back to myself, I read this book for the first time whenever I was 16, and my mom was diagnosed with ovarian cancer whenever I was 16, and so just remembering that, I was like, oh my gosh, that's probably why this book meant so much to me, because this was the first book I read. This was the summer that everything started for me, the summer that I read this book, and just like, she was the first character that had actually gone through what I was personally experiencing to such a great degree. So I don't know why, but I guess like I forgot that fact, but now that I'm rereading it, I'm like, oh yes, this book meant so much to me and this is the root of that. But also guys, this is my first time reading this book now that I'm in the same position as Andy. Every time I've read this book previous, my mom was alive and fighting it. Andy's mom is dead. And this is the first time I'm reading this book that I'm genuinely in the same position as Andy. I'm loving this book. I plan on finishing this book tomorrow. And I have to finish it tomorrow because I'm literally going on a trip on Thursday. I have to pack tomorrow! Bye! So it has been 24 hours since I've last checked up with you guys. Nothing has happened. I entered into a talking stage with someone and I ended that talking stage all within 24 hours. God is good. I don't know how much I'm going to vlog on this trip because this is a me and God kind of trip. Probably not much, but if I finish a book and start a new one, I'll let you know. I finished The Unexpected Everything. I am giving it 5 stars still, you know, it's perfect. I think if you're a young adult looking for a young adult book to read during the summer that is so fun and easy and quick. I know the book is over 500 pages. Don't let that stop you because this book is seriously incredible. It is funny, it is serious, it talks about a lot of serious problems, but there's also a found family trope, and you also get to experience Andy and her really healthy friend group. I think that's what drew me to this book, is because I read this book before I had my own friend group, and I was like, oh, I want this. And so being able to read this book, I was like, oh heck yeah, I get this friend group that I've always wanted. So I love this book, but I just finished it and we're about to head to the beach. So I am now restarting The Paradise Problem. There's an ant on it. Ew. This is a marriage of convenience trope. They get married because he has to be married in order to get his inheritance, and then 5 years later they're still married and he needs to prove that he's still married. So he goes to this girl who's literally a stranger, and she ends up going to his sister's wedding, and they have to fake it the whole time that they've been madly deeply in love for 5 years, but they literally just met to sign the papers and then haven't seen each other for 5 years. So I remember this book being so much fun, and I remember reading it literally in one day. I was like, I'm only going to read 50 pages before going to bed, and I remember I didn't go to bed until I finished the book. It was so flipping good. So I'm excited to dive into this book. I'm excited for the laughter. Here's my beach read. So it has been another fulfilling, amazing day on vacation. I finished The Paradise Problem this morning. I read like 270 pages yesterday, and then I finished the last like 50 this morning. So good. Still a 5-star read. Still so funny. It's full of humor, full of delicious family drama that you immediately get sucked into and are obsessed with. To be this insanely rich, oh my goodness. And I loved how this book really talks about true fulfillment. What is fulfilling you? Because it's not going to be money. It's never going to be money. And this book does such a good job of laying out how whenever you can get whatever you want, nothing has value anymore. And so it's kind of like, what's the point of having all this money whenever it actually makes everything meaningless? And I loved how that tied into how fulfilling their love story was for him specifically, because he never really found meaning in anything until he met her. And I just think their love story is so beautiful for them to genuinely meet each other where they're at and fall in love. This book was so good. You can ask my friend Haley. I was cracking up. She kept being like, what is funny? And I would have to tell her. It was always something that Anna said and then how Liam would respond to her. This book is so good. If you haven't read it, please read it, because I've read it 2 times now and my feelings are the same, which is I'm obsessed with it and I love it so much. Then I started Attached at the Hip, which is by Christine Riccio, which this book is so good. I am a little under-ish. This book, we are following Ori, and she is somebody who struggles to make decisions. So to kind of prove everybody wrong, she applies for the TV show of Survivor, and she gets cast in it. However, whenever she shows up to Survivor, then she is told that she's on this like new season or this new series, which is like Survivor, but it's actually a dating show where you have to be tethered to somebody by rope. Basically, she has a rope around her and it's tied to somebody else, and they have to navigate the challenges together. But it's a dating show, and so a lot of science went into who can be on the show, but she ends up going and she ends up being paired with her old crush in high school, which is very problematic because she had a boyfriend that whole time. I actually read this book for the first time in a 24-hour reading vlog, so if you guys haven't watched that video, go watch it, because that is where I read this book for the first time. So that will be kind of cool that you guys get to watch me read it for the first time, and then this video you get to watch me read it for a second time. I'm gonna go finish packing because we are leaving here at 2:30 in the morning to drive 4.5 hours to be back in time for church. I'll catch up with you guys whenever I get home. Hey guys, I am back at my house. I already missed being on vacation. It was so nice to just not really be on my phone, and where we went was like the perfect escape place. Haley and I were driving through one of the back roads, and I literally looked at her and I was like, this is the place that like summer romances are written in. That being said, there was also really nothing to do on the island. Like if you weren't going specifically to beach or fish or bike, there was like nothing there for you. So thankfully Haley and I were outdoorsy people, and that's exactly what we wanted to do, was be outside the whole time. I finished Attached to the Hip by Christine Riccio. Out of all of my rereads, this was my least favorite, and I say that because I think people will understand what I mean. This book is based on Survivor, so a lot of my initial attraction and love for this book was all of the plot twists and getting to experience these really cool challenges for the first time, and being really confused by the social dynamic in this story. So this book, having all of these unknown shifts and twists, really made the book such an interesting read for me the first time. However, doing this as a reread, I already knew what was coming. I already knew the characters that I couldn't really trust. I knew what was going to happen. I knew who won the challenges. So it was kind of like, yeah, I know this is happening. So still a really good book, still very enjoyable, but my enjoyment level went down simply because I knew a lot of what made the book so fun and interesting. If I were to rate it again, I would give it a 4-star. I think if you have never read this book before, you need to go pick it up. The characters are funny. The plot is very good. It's very interesting. It has a good pace. This is a really good balance of a plot-driven novel and a character-driven novel, because there are chapters where they are in an intense challenge and you were like, what's going on? Who's gonna win? Ah! And then there are chapters where it is literally just them being vulnerable with each other and getting to know each other. And so it has a very good balance. I think it was such a good summery read, even though I think it takes place in January. So not really a summer book. Well, that is it for my rereading summer books, you guys. I wanted to read one more, but I honestly am so excited for my summer TBR and like new books to me. So I'm going to cut this video here because I really want to get into this book. You read a book and you love it and you talk about it, but then it's so nice to go back and reread that book and be reminded of why you loved it. If you guys were to do this video, what are some of the books that you would be reading? Because maybe I haven't heard of them and maybe I want to read them. So comment down below what are some of your summer 5-star reads have been. And I'm interested to see if we match on some of these. But that is it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys next week. Bye!